Hey Corona Diary, it is Thursday the 19th of March and I'm bringing yesterday's news. So, please excuse me, I have been in a lot of pain since I woke up. Some mist tablets really have played havoc with my body, so I'm really suffering. Hence why I look such a mess. I've struggled to put some clothes on and put my hair up, so there's absolutely no way I can do makeup or do a good job of anything, really. So, yeah, please excuse the way I look. My skin's a bit hormonal too, so it's quite congested and disgusting, and yeah, I just don't feel very good today. So in terms of this video, I'm not quite sure when you'll see it, but I have now decided that I'm going to make these videos public. I have been overwhelmed with the lovely messages people are sending me and asking how we are. I just want to apologise to everybody that I've not responded to, because obviously there's a lot to contend with mentally right now, and to be going over everything to a lot of people is difficult. So I'm hoping that by putting these videos public, people will watch these and be able to understand. So apologies to anybody that I've not responded to. It's not because I don't want to talk to people, it's just when you're facing something difficult and you have to keep going over it, it can be quite challenging. So yeah, please do bear with me. I do feel guilty that I've not felt up to responding, but I'm doing my best and I will get there. So yeah, I'm not feeling at my best physically and mentally. Mentally because, you know, when you're not sure if people have had symptoms and you are isolated, when you're isolated, you know, I grew up as one of 5 children. So when I grew up, there were 6 people, my mum and 5 children. And then I now have 5 children of my own. So having to be on my own is not too nice. I am being looked after, like meals are still being brought to me. You know, my drinks and my tablets, it's all being brought to me at the correct times as it normally would. It's just that it's being placed outside my bedroom door now, and someone's knocking the door loud and then leaving it there. So yeah. So in terms of my family, this morning my partner has a bit of a dry throat. It is merely just that, but there's no knowing if that's once again to do with the virus. My daughter, she's no worse, so that's also good. I'm hoping that this with my partner is just nothing, but there's no way of knowing. He has actually had a cough for a couple of weeks, but that cough was about before the government started talking to the country about isolating at all. So we see that as nothing, so hopefully we are right. So my partner and son went out for some shopping yesterday. They took some video footage to show me, and it is absolute carnage. Getting hold of enough to make meals for 7 people right now and to cater for a diabetic diet is somewhat challenging. Now we have managed it, and I'm not going to sit here and complain, because ultimately we're still in a better position than some people around the world right now. So we just have to thank our lucky stars and be grateful for what we do have. But yeah, they went out, they went with backpacks and they went with a trolley, because ultimately we are a family of 7, and as much as that might seem excessive to some of you, when you've got to buy enough for a week's worth of shopping for 7 people, generally we were doing it 2 or 3 times a week with a shopping trolley. So sending out the 2 strongest people, my partner and my eldest, they're both men essentially, and so they had a shopping trolley and a backpack each and a couple of strong bags, so they did pretty well. So we're actually okay, so there's no worries there. We haven't gone overboard because you physically can't, because there's just not enough. And I don't think everyone can afford to go overboard either at the moment, because you've got to have the availability to spend slightly more on things when other things aren't available. So, you know, like what tends to happen usually is that, say you wanted some bread, the cheaper bread option that you may be used to, if it's not available, you then have to buy something more expensive, so you can't really afford, and you've got to be careful about the way you go about things, otherwise you could leave yourself with nothing, which is not, you know, what anyone wants at all. So yeah, that's our situation at the moment. I did get a bit tearful last night. For some reason, because I've got Sky in this room, for some reason the Sky box kicked out very early in the evening for me. So I had a very, very lonely evening, quite bored and fed up with myself. Once again, I know I'm lucky to have Sky in the beginning. I think that this experience has opened my eyes somewhat, and I've learnt to appreciate everything I've got, but it has ultimately been a struggle, and I'm not afraid to admit that it is difficult. But my son is 18 on Saturday, and because of the early isolation, that means that I can't be with him. It also meant that I couldn't go out and buy him a card. So what I've had to do is order one on Amazon. It arrived this morning, and let me show you. We have Amazon Prime, and we had to order, or I chose something online, and so that meant I couldn't see like the inside of the card when I was looking, and I managed to pick this, and the verse on the front was so special, but I didn't realise that it had verses on the inside, and honestly I was so glassed up when I read this morning. It couldn't be a more beautiful card given the circumstances. I'm just so happy that I've managed to be able to get him a card of some sort. I actually managed to get some card together just in case I couldn't find something or find a way, so that I could try and make him one, and with the amount of pain I'm in, that would have been quite a challenge, but you know, it would have meant something to me to be able to do anything at all. So let's look at the news. So yesterday's news, we heard that there was 676 new cases in the United Kingdom. There was 32 more deaths, bringing the total now to 104. Obviously, when you see this, we will be further on because I record this and put it up later. So yeah, that was quite a jump, and it was quite scary. We heard that Glastonbury had been cancelled. That's a big festival in the UK. That had been cancelled. We also heard that filming on EastEnders, which is a British soap, had been suspended until further notice, meaning there would be fewer episodes being shown per week. So that's going to slow down. If you're a fan of the soap EastEnders, you're not going to be seeing so much of that. Which doesn't, once again, affect me. I don't watch soaps. I stopped watching them years ago because they were all too samey, and I found them quite repetitive and boring, if I'm being honest. That's probably at the stage where I got into YouTube as well. I wanted to be creative, so yeah, there's that. So next up, earlier on in the day, we had one of my children's schools emailing us asking if anyone has any children with asthma to self-isolate for 14 days. Now, at that stage of the day, that was going against the government's recommendations for keeping the schools open. So, yeah, that was interesting. We also heard that the West End theatres, that's the big theatres in London, that they would be shutting down to fight the virus. So that was something big. And then later on in the day, we had the news that the Education Secretary was closing schools until further notice from Friday, which to us is tomorrow. So as of tomorrow in the UK, my tomorrow, it won't be that for you when you're watching this, but as of tomorrow, all schools in the UK will be closing until further notice. So that was something we expected to be coming. We wasn't sure quite when. We started to wonder if it would be the end of this week, and we wasn't wrong. So my children were already in a 14-day isolation that had just started for a couple of days anyway, so that's made no difference. We also had a phone call from my daughter's boyfriend's mum. It's the first time we'd actually heard from her. They'd been in a relationship for a little while now, but she actually contacted us to ask if everyone was okay and offer her help because she has a car, if we need any supplies of any type, and that she would be willing to drop anything off outside for us, which was absolutely amazing. I think it's so important that if you're able to offer someone help like that, as long as you do it in a safe way, you know, that really does make a huge difference to some people. So yeah, that really did mean a lot to us. She didn't have to do that, and we are very, very grateful. So yeah, like I say, these videos, I haven't even put the first video public yet. Like I say, have decided to put them public now. I think for the first couple of days, I should probably put 2 on in the morning. So I'm going to aim for probably 10 a.m. every morning. So it's not the same time as my normal videos. Those videos won't be affected by the Corona Diary videos. Probably 10 a.m. each day will be the video going up, but until we've caught up, it'll be 2 a day. So I'll probably do sort of 10 and 10:30 until we've caught up. So that is the update. I hope that you are all keeping safe. Yeah. I'm still in a state of shock. There's part of me that is struggling to accept what's happening right now. It's so bizarre, and I never actually thought that we would get to this stage. I mean, even when Wuhan was on lockdown, it just didn't, and I don't know why, it just didn't dawn on me that it would actually get as far as happening here as well. And now I feel silly for not taking that so seriously, but you know, what's happening to the world right now is absolutely crazy, and it's so upsetting. I'm not just struggling with the worry of my family and how I'm coping and feeling isolated. I'm you know, the anxiety with me doesn't just stop there. It stops that, you know, how is everyone coping with being fed? And that's not just in my home, you know, I worry about everybody. And, you know, the prospect of so many people dying around the world upsets me. I find it really difficult. I know people say that you should think of your own first, but it's just so awful, isn't it? So, with that said, before I get tearful, I'm going to finish today's entry here, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Take care and be safe.